True North started as a public policy think tank focusing on immigration.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on immigration in 2026, because I think it's so unsustainable. And I think that there is a sourness in the public mood. Canada used to be friendly towards immigration.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and now the head of the so-called Century Initiative, which wanted to triple Canada's population, he's been appointed a hand-picked appointee by Carney. I think he's the new ambassador to the States. Like, there is still a runaway train there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually, because it's like, I think for the Liberals, the solution is just always more immigration. Any problem, any issue, it's like, well, we just need more people, just get more bodies in. And as long as people are willing to come to Canada, we will pay for them. We'll literally give them everything they need. We'll buy their bed sheets, we'll buy their apartment, we'll buy their car, we'll put them everything.
And it's indiscriminate. But they're bringing in,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
they don't care. They don't care where you're from. They don't care anything. Just come on in.
They don't even interviews anymore. It's just all click a few buttons on a website, you're done. There's no actual. Years ago, they gave up interviewing people. They just don't do it.
They don't do it, and they don't even ask anything of you, right? It's literally like, just come, don't worry, we'll pay for you. You'll have a nice life. We'll take care of you. And
free health. They advertise. There was a tweet by Immigration Canada mentioning come to Canada for free health care. They're not even hiding it.
And that's just the beginning. I mean, you can go through reports of just all the things that they get. No, I was thinking about this the other day, Ezra, because I remember I was on your show probably 10 years ago talking about the Syrian refugee strategy. And at the time, Kelly Leach had this controversial idea that we should screen newcomers for their values. Yeah. And I said, of course they should. Yeah. Of course, that should be the bare minimum. You should have to have, like, what is Canada other than a shared set of values and ideas, right? If we're not an ethnic race of people, right? We're not a nation in the true sense. We've always sort of been a mix of different people, but we have a shared worldview and a shared ideology. And so 10 years ago, it was like, I think that you have to share that worldview in order to come to Canada. And in the last 10 years, we've just seen the absolute consequences of complete open door immigration, wide open, indiscriminate, as you said. And I think there's a much deeper problem that requires a much bigger solution, right? Like, I was actually talking to, not to get too personal, but my brother, his family live in a suburb of Vancouver. My other brother and his family live in a suburb of Toronto. And my nephew in Vancouver is the only white child in his class, the only white boy. And I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she said that one of her daughters is also the only white girl in her class. They're in an entire school where there's no Canadians, basically. Everyone is an immigrant. Everyone's from somewhere else. Look, I think it's fine. I think it's great to have a Chinese family and an Indian family, and it's interesting. It's fun. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about everybody from a different culture, everybody from a different place. And Canadians are I don't know, I guess they're moving to the exurbs, and they're getting further and further away from these cities. I think Canada has a real problem, and I think it's very obvious to everybody that we don't really have any shared values anymore. We don't really have anything holding us together. It's going to be we're going to need a huge solution. There's going to be backlash. It's already here. It's already coming. I think most Canadians oppose to it. I think we do need an immigration moratorium. I think that we should consider offering people money to go back to their country. I think that remigration is something that we should consider, because even just the cost of living in Canada, like, we shouldn't be paying people to come here. We shouldn't be. If you want to come to Canada, you have to make a sacrifice and work really, really hard and earn up enough money so that you can live here. That should be what immigration is all about. Not, we're going to bribe you to come here, and don't worry, if you can't afford it, we'll just keep paying you forever and ever. That's just so backwards and so wrong, Ezra.
In my trips to the UK, I've watched Nigel Farage, who first became famous for leading the UKIP party that led the Brexit referendum. And then now he's the head of something called Reform UK. And over month after month, I see him getting bolder and bolder. Now he's talking about remigration. Now he's talking about mass deportations. It's taken him a while to work up to it, because he's very careful. Like, he's such a careful, pragmatic guy. Every single poll for the last year puts him in first place. If there were an election now, he would win a majority. And it's because, I was in a by-election he had in a deep labor stronghold. Stop the ships. Freeze immigration, stop the ships. And he's gone beyond freeze immigration. He's talking about deportations. He is the number one, for a year now, the number one in the polls. Do you think Pierre Poilievre could or should do that? My theory is, be controversial, be radical. The media is going to have a controversy or a scandal no matter what. Choose it.
Yeah.
Make it on immigration, because so many people quietly agree.
Right. And I think that there's a way to do it, right? I think Pierre is a careful person, and I think that he was too careful in the election. I think that he should have been bolder. He should have come out when, obviously it was a difficult issue to navigate with President Trump saying what he was saying about 51st Day. It wasn't easy, but Pierre was just kind of caught flat-footed, didn't know what to say, eventually just kind of copied the Liberals and did what they did. So I think he needs to be bolder, and I wish that immigration was one of those issues that he would take on. Maybe he doesn't need to go as far as I do with remigration, but I do think that people who came here as students, I mean, that program is a total failure. They need to leave. They need to go home.
And the temporary foreign workers for positions that are not necessary.
Yeah.
That we could hire Canadians for.
Exactly. So really we need it's not even a matter of whether it's the right thing to do. I think all Conservatives know that it is, and more Canadians. I think Pierre does need to kind of wake up on the immigration issue and
he's scared because they'll call him racist.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? He just needs to get over that. And I think
you're going to call him that anyways.
I think, yeah, and they do. And they'll call him extreme and a populist and far right, even though he's the furthest from that. So yes, I think that if Pierre really wants to carve out a place for himself, it's tough, right? Because I think, Mark Carney doing what he's doing, making these deals, it looks like he's going to somehow be able to pull a majority out of a minority, and he's going to govern, in a way that Canadians might see as stable. Pierre has to do something. Otherwise, I don't see him staying on as leader, and I think that could be disastrous for the Conservative Party. So I hope he's listening. I hope he will take immigration as an issue and really carve out a position that's very different from the Liberals. And this is something that I think he can get Canadians on his side. Forget about the media, forget about what they're going to say about you, and just do the right thing. It ties to so many of the things that Pierre talks about, the cost of living. And, Pierre's always been very strong, anti-radical, against the crazy Hamasniks celebrating, and all those people have to go. We were talking a bit about free speech absolutists, because you've always been a free speech absolutist. I think free speech is so important, but at the same time, there has to be consequences to that speech, right?
Especially if you're a foreign national.
Right.
If you're here as a student or a temporary worker, and instead of coming in on those conditions, every Saturday you go scream at Jews, get out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Trump's doing. He's not kicking out citizens. If you're here as a special guest and you decide instead to go on a political war against America, or some Americans, get out.
Right.
I think that would calm and cool off our whole country, because I'm worried about a terrorist attack. I mean, I just am. Yeah. We don't have... None of the Jewish schools or synagogues have armed guards. Like, I think we're sleepwalking towards a crisis.